So I'm going to be doing a book haul today, and I made some bubble tea because I'm addicted to it. I actually bought a kilogram bag of tapioca pearls because I'm just so obsessed with bubble tea. Like, it is a huge burden on my bank account, so I was like, let me just make it myself and it'll be less of a burden. But I have 3 books that I bought from bookstores and the rest are all deliveries. I guess I'll start with the ones that I just already opened. So first of all, I have Thomas Malthus's An Essay on the Principle of Population. I've already read this and like highlighted it and stuff. It's essentially about Malthus's theory and how population growth is exponential and how someday we're going to run out of resources to be able to accommodate for population and stuff. He talks about like some other stuff too, like there's some discourse on like he mentions stuff on like a bit on philosophy and like stuff about like food shortages, and about you know, like morally are people more or less likely to have children when they're living in states of poverty and stuff. It tackles a lot of things. It's a short essay and it reads really easily, surprisingly. So yeah, I picked this up. It's Econsy. I'm an economics student if you didn't know. Yeah, anyway, next on a similar theme, I guess, is this book called The Rise and Fall of Council Housing by John Burton? John. So this book is essentially about the types of like social housing that we have here in the UK and stuff, and about how they've changed historically and like where they are now. It tackles things like the Grenfell fire that happened and how we can prevent tragedies like that from happening again, and sort of why we even allowed such a tragic occurrence to even happen. Like, how did it come into existence? So yeah, I haven't read this yet actually, but it's like going to be one of the next books that I pick up. But yeah, it looks interesting. I just saw this in the bookshop randomly and I thought, I need to get it. It sounds really cool. So got it. Okay, next we have Me and White Supremacy by Layla Saad. And so I've been trying to pick up more books recently about race and structural racism and such, and so this is one of the books that I thought looked really, really interesting when I saw it in the bookshop, because the categories on which it touches on are all like very important. So it talks about stuff like, you know, cultural appropriation and allyship and how to be a good ally basically. And so I think it's also really nice because it like provides you insights not only on like why it's important to be an ally and actively be anti-racist, but also like it like helps you, like it's very interactive with the reader, like it prompts you to think about your own daily life and what you're doing and such, and not just like a collection of, you know, it's not just a collection of thought. It also like engages the reader a lot, which I think is really good. So yeah, this is lovely. It's a really nice addition too. Yeah, so this was nice. So on to the unboxing. This is exciting. So let's start off with this package. I really love unboxing stuff because it feels like it's Christmas, or whatnot. Ooh, okay. I have been dying for all of these to come in so that I can unbox them. Okay, this is exciting. So, the first book that we have is What is Populism? By Jean-Werner Müller. I'm sorry if my pronunciation is a bit off, but essentially I saw this in the bookshop too, but I was in a rush and I couldn't pick it up then, so I had to order it because I've been thinking about this so much. So it talks about, you know, like actual people, so, you know, within our 21st century politics, and that like how they apply to populism and how we see populism like in the modern day. But then it also, you know, talks about how to deal with populists and such, and so it seemed like the perfect book for me because I feel as though I know of populism and I can like provide examples of it here and there, but I want to get a more in-depth view. So this seemed like the perfect combination of, you know, theory and, you know, practical examples, empirical evidence. So this just seemed like a really, really nice read to pick up about. So if you want to learn about populism, I don't know, like I guess this is what I thought sounded cool. And yeah, a really short read and hopefully it's good. I mean, I have really high hopes for this. Yeah. So next, okay. Oh, this feels really nice. I don't know what material this cover is made of, but this is really nice. Anyway, this is Creating a World Without Poverty, Social Business and the Future of Capitalism by Muhammad Yunus. He is, of course, the winner of the Nobel Peace Prize because this is the guy who basically invented microfinance and helped out a lot of people. Of course, microfinance within itself is an issue which has a lot of contention surrounding it. Some people are pro, some people are against it. But I essentially really wanted to know more about, how he came about creating like the local banks, infrastructures and whatnot to be able to, really like start up his idea that he had and like the work gone into it. Because I know I know a lot of the theory of microfinance, but I'd love to, know more practical empirical examples, how it actually works and such. So yeah, I'm really excited for this. It seemed like, I didn't know that Muhammad Yunus actually had books, which is maybe really poor on my behalf. But yeah, like when I saw this, I was like, yeah, I need to pick it up. So yeah, this is cool. Okay, next. Oh, I'm really excited for this. So this is The Art of War by Sun Tzu, and this is essentially, like, everyone knows about this. This is a book about, philosophy of war and peace, but like in reality, it's very much so applicable to our daily lives. This was on like really big discounts, so I picked it up in this edition, and it's a nice hardback. But yeah, it's something which I feel as though is essential reading for anyone reading classics or philosophy. So I had to pick this up. It's really short, so I should get through it quite quickly. And the presentation of it, you can see it's like the font size is not quite large, so it should be like quite a quick read, but very influential. I've heard that it's good for all ages of people, so like if you have kids or like you read with kids, can read this with them and stuff. But yeah, it's a nice book of essential philosophy, and I have been meaning to I've been trying to get more into Eastern philosophy as well as Western, so this was, of course, an essential read. I can't tell you how excited I am for this. This is Ezra Pound's selected poems from 1908 to 1969. Ezra Pound is someone who I've been meaning to read for so long, because every time I hear of him and of his work, I just think, wow, I'm going to love this author. And so this edition has a bunch of his poems and some of his selected cantos. So it should be a really, really, really nice start to reading Ezra Pound. I really can't wait. I'm so excited for this. I mean, I've been wanting to read him for so long, and I just hear that his poetry is so absolutely beautiful and influential. I mean, he is one of like the top modern classic poets, like top 20th century poets, like 100%. So yeah, I really can't wait to read him. If anyone has read Ezra Pound, let me know, because I feel as I'm going to love this so much. I'm going to want to talk to people about it. But yeah, some poetry. Okay, next we have this cute little package. Oh, okay. I saw this when I was scrolling through and looking for books, and I just read the title and I thought, yeah, I need to have it. So this is I Have More Souls Than One by Fernando Pessoa, and this is in the Penguin like modern classics, but it's in their like mini modern classics. So this is also a poetry anthology, a poetry collection, and it's an intro into Fernando Pessoa, who's a Portuguese poet, and I haven't read anything by him as of yet, but I love the title so much. It sparks so much inspiration in me, like in terms of like poetry. I don't personally write, because I don't think I'm creatively talented in the sense of being able to write, but I read this title and I had the sudden urge to write poetry, because I was just like, oh whoa, that's really, really nice. and I read like one of the poems in here that was in like the description of the item, and I just fell in love with it. So I think I'm going to end up picking up more of Fernando Pessoa. Like I can just kind of tell. But yeah, I needed to get this. I mean, look at that title. And these editions are really, really cheap. They're only like £1 each. So it really, these are very addictive. But yeah, so I picked up this. This is exciting. Okay. So next we have another one of these Penguin Mini Modern Classics. This is Susan Sontag's Notes on Camp. Basically, if you guys remember, if you know, the Met Gala of 2016? 2017? I don't remember which year, but there was one year which they did Heavenly Bodies, Catholic Imagery and Inspiration. Something like that was the title of the Met Gala. And sorry, what am I talking about? This is about camp. There was the year which was about camp. Sorry, I'm way too into the Met Gala stuff. I love looking at Met Gala outfits. And anyway, why was I thinking about? Okay, that's the wrong year. There was the year which they did camp, and so Susan Sontag is a great writer, and I really wanted to read her like notes on camp. There's also an essay in here called One Culture and the New Sensibility, but her notes on camp is essentially like a list of 50 things of what camp is not, and I thought I had to have this in physical form because I read the list when it was the year of that Met Gala, but it just seemed like such a cool thing to own, and I love Susan Sontag and I find camp interesting, so yeah, I had to pick this up. Next we have another Econsy type book, and this is The Bottom Billion by Paul Collier. The reason why I got this is because it was marketed as one of like the main books to read on foreign aid. I know a decent amount of the theory that goes along with foreign aid. However, this book provides more practical examples and empirical evidence. The writing is quite small, that's a bit intimidating. But yeah, I mean, this would just be nice to have as a resource to put all of my knowledge of my theory of foreign aid, FDI and such, into, you know, to ground it into modern examples. So I thought this was quite cool. Although I will say, it seems like one of those books which you don't really have to know a lot about economics to be able to read. But yeah, it's won a lot of book prizes and such. So yeah, I mean, pick this up if you want to learn about like the development of countries and foreign aid, FDI, which is foreign direct investment and such. This is like one of the like supposedly best books to pick up. And flipping through it, I see a lot of like stuff. I see a lot about like the WTO, GATT, OECD. So it seems like it has a lot of, you know, stats and like relevant information. So yeah, if any of that sounds interesting, then pick it up. Okay, next, I finally got some Sophocles. So this collection has Antigone, Oedipus the King, and Electra. So it obviously doesn't have the last Oedipus play, I forget what it's called. Instead it has Electra. The thing is, I really, really wanted to read, you know, Antigone, Oedipus the King, but also I've been meaning to read Electra for so long because I think it was when I was reading Kierkegaard that I saw like a quote taken, like Kierkegaard used a quote from Electra in his Either Or, and the quote was so nice. It was like, I would rather go into war 1,000 times than give birth once. And I was like, damn, that's nice, I like that, and that was from Electra. So I've been meaning to pick that up, and so this edition seemed nice. I also really like the Oxford Word Classics for, you know, classical plays and such, because they tend to have good like explanatory notes and such. But yeah, this edition seemed cool. It was also like insanely cheap. I got this on Amazon. So yeah, I'm excited for some plays. Really, really excited for this. I can't wait to read this. Sophocles is like a must read. I can't believe I haven't read any of the Oedipus plays yet. It's a crime. Okay, these are also quite exciting. So, the first one is Chronicles by Thomas Piketty. So Thomas Piketty is really, I think one of like the most well-known names in 21st century economics. Although his books are usually a lot longer than this. They usually, I have his Capital. Capital is what we use to talk about Marx's, which I also have, which is also huge. But Thomas Piketty's Capital, Capital in the 21st century, is like a huge, like 700-page tome. So this is more like 180 pages, which is appealing for someone like me who likes short books. But yeah, this is apparently about the financial crisis and how we can recover from it. I thought, yeah, sure. I mean, I really enjoy Thomas Piketty's writing and like the presentation that he puts into his books. So I thought this would be a nice little commentary on the financial crisis, his take on it, and how you can recover from it. Looking through the chapters right now, like it talks about democratic revolution, right? Protectionism, a bit about Japan. That seems interesting, and yeah, taxes and such. Essentially, if you want a really accessible book about the global financial crisis of like 2008, I think this is something which you might want to pick up because his writing tends to be very accessible to people of different levels of understanding of economics. So yeah, I would potentially recommend this. I obviously haven't read it yet, but I would say that perhaps this is something you might enjoy picking up. Okay, next. We have another economics book because I'm an economics student, but more than that, I'm not just an economics student. I want to like devote my life to economics essentially, so this is why I buy so many economics books and just like spend my entire time just like reading econ stuff because I love economics. So this is Can Capitalism Survive by Joseph Schumpeter. This guy basically invented the theory of creative destruction, and once again, creative destruction, something which I know of creative destruction, and I know like some of the theory, some of the analysis, but I definitely feel as though I could do with a lot more knowledge on it, which is why I picked this up. This isn't too long, it's around 180 pages, and the font is quite big actually, and there seems to be a lot of explanatory notes within the book. Yeah, I mean, creative destruction is fascinating. I really can't wait to learn more about it, and obviously Joseph Schumpeter is like one of like the biggest names in economics too, so I feel as though, as you know, a wannabe economics academic, I need to read this. So yeah, I picked this up and hopefully it is good. I appreciate that it seems like I only read books about capitalism. That is not, like I don't go out just seeking books about capitalism. It just happens to be that a lot of them have like capitalism in their name, but they tackle like, you know, a much broader scope than just like capitalism within itself. Like I said, with like creative destruction, with financial crisis and whatnot. Okay, last package. Okay, these ones are oh, okay, so this one, okay, which one do we start with? We'll start with this one. Also another economics book because I love economics. This is Milton Friedman's Capitalism and Freedom. So Milton Friedman is obviously like one of the absolute biggest names in 20th century economics as a whole, right? And so yeah, I know a lot of he was very influential in terms of his research that he did and the theories which he proposed, of which I know, once again, like I know a decent amount of because I am an economics student. However, I really wanted to read, I wanted to read his work so that I can, thoroughly get an image of what he was saying and like his own ideas were and how he was proposing them. It's obviously quite controversial, but I'm really excited to learn more in-depth analysis of his ideas on policy, on trade, on how much interference the government should have. This essentially tackles the issue again of how should the government have a huge role or not within the economy. So yeah, this idea about liberty and Friedman, which Hayek is also a big proposer of. If you're interested in ideas of like liberty within economics and within like our economy, and how, if you're interested in like, you know, how much role the government should have within, you know, our economy and our like economic system, then I would suggest reading Hayek's Road to Serfdom, and then potentially this too, because it tackles similar issues apparently. So yeah, once I read this, I will let you know how it is, but it is only, once again, like it's under 200 pages, or just about 200. The font seems quite nice, and yeah, this is like my favorite type of economics, like stuff like government policy, and I don't know if he talks about trade here much, but like I'm really interested in policy and stuff, so yeah, this should be good, an interesting read. That's what I'll say. I try to be very like neutral in terms of what I say on my channel. Like, just because I'm reading books by Friedman, for example, doesn't mean that I necessarily like 100% believe with his views. It's another source of information and a different approach. It's important to, you know, read a wide variety of approaches, whether or not you necessarily agree with them. Not to say that I do or I don't. I don't want there to be like comments debating economics in my comment section, because that's, you know, what I'm here to do. I'm here to do a book haul and recommend some books, or show some books. And so the last one, this was probably the most expensive book that I got, because it is just so, it's so rare. I mean, I wouldn't say rare, but it's so, this is like a textbook. Why am I buying textbooks? So this is Political Writings by Condorcet. Basically, I read, where is it? I read Malthus's essay on principal population, and so this is obviously like a response to a lot of what Condorcet says, and so I thought, oh, let me read his stuff so that I have a better understanding of the debate as a whole. And the thing is, right, like, a lot of this isn't going to be like particularly useful to like my, you know, my studies or like my future degree. But it's still interesting and it is still influential. Like, I want to learn, because like Condorcet had this whole idea that we're going to reach this like, he talks about human development through the ages and how we're constantly developing and getting better and better at what we're doing, and like he kind of like talks about world history in a series of stages, and like he has this idea that we're going to reach this 10th stage, like this epoch where like we're basically a perfect civilization, like a perfect humanity. He is one of like the Enlightenment like era writers. So yeah, French Enlightenment writer. He was actually like also like quite like a huge not contributor, but like he talks about like women's rights and such in a way which is refreshing to hear from, you know, 18th century point of view. Surprisingly not misogynistic, so that is lovely. But yeah, I mean, this edition's quite nice. It has a lot of space on the sides of the pages where you can write notes potentially, which, I mean, I'm going to be highlighting it and such. But yeah, like, is this like going to be absolutely necessary, like, for my studies? For my future studies? Like, no, but it is A, interesting, and B, like, somewhat useful. So I thought that this sounded fun. I love philosophy, and like when you mix up philosophy and like politics and economics, it's just like the perfect little bubble that we have. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. Let me see if I can hold up the stack of books that I have. So these are the books that I got. That's a nice little stack. It's refreshing to see that most of them are not big books, so that I can read them in like a day or 2 days and feel the sense of satisfaction that one gets when they finish reading a book. And yeah, I feel like this is a really nice selection, a really nice mix of academic literature as well as poetry and philosophy. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Cheers!